I was watching Lygia Resurrected's video on Honest Goth Talk a couple of weeks ago, and she was talking about some of the changes that were going on in the goth part of YouTube. Now, I haven't been on the goth side of YouTube that long. I've only been watching goth videos for about a year and a half now. I started out watching the videos because I was doing research on a novel I was writing that was called Spinsterella, which featured a goth character. And I wanted to make sure that what I was writing was accurate to the goth subculture. And during my year and a half of watching goth videos and interacting with goths online, they have been some of the friendliest and nicest people I have had the pleasure of running into. I have watched numerous goth videos and dropped comments periodically here and there, and some goths have pretty much written back to me, and others did not. And I didn't really see much of an elitism issue or a faction issue. I'm a complete stranger, and I would just go over somebody's video. Sometimes I would say, drop a compliment regarding their outfit or drop a comment about what was in the video, or even talk about how it was wrong for some Christians to attack goths for just looking different. But most of my interactions with goths on YouTube again has been very, very, very positive. I didn't see a lot of cliquishness or factions, or people not replying because somebody had a lower subscriber count or somebody had a higher subscriber count. I really didn't see that. I mean, I'm a guy who only has about 1,500 subscribers, and I've had people who had 100,000 subscribers respond to a comment that I dropped. I've even had people like Black Friday reply to something I wrote when I said we need Black Friday in New York or something like that, uh, about a year ago. Um, and I've had no problem, interacting with goths online, and it hasn't really been an issue. I mean, the people with higher subscriber counts, they would respond to me, not only on YouTube, but they also would respond to me on Twitter as well. I mean, I have I have gotten responses from Toxic Tears and Black Friday on Twitter. And that's another way you could interact with them. A lot of people don't know that you can go to their Twitters or you can go to their Tumblrs, and if they have time, they will respond. Black Friday, as far as I know, she moved all the way from New Zealand to Germany, so she's been trying to get that together. So that may be a reason why she doesn't respond, and it also may be also because she has 100,000 subscribers as well. Same thing with quite a few of the other more popular YouTubers like a Drac Makins or a Toxic Tears. They may not have the time because when you have this thing called life that you're doing, you really don't have the time to respond. As a guy who spends a lot of his time writing blogs, 3 blogs a week, putting together 5 books in a year, and is looking for a full-time job, it can be a bit of a challenge to get back to the computer to reply to a comment. And I make multiple videos in a week, and it's a big challenge when you have all these different pieces of social media that you're going on. And I go on because I'm on Blogger One, I'm on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, and sometimes it's a challenge even for me to get back to everyone. Sometimes it may be a day or 2 days before I even know that there's a new comment in my Blogger cache, or even over here on YouTube. It depends on where I am. I mean, I'm very busy all day, and I usually only have 5 hours in a day online because that's the only time I can get to the library. I'm usually only have that 5 hours, and if you can't get me within that 5 hours, you pretty much aren't going to get me because that's the only place I can get the internet. And if you're a person who's very busy, you're not going to have a lot of time to just keep um, replying to people and trying to respond to every comment, especially when you have a lot of subscribers online and YouTube, and when you're doing other social media like Blogger, Tumblr, and Facebook. People can get lost in the shuffle, especially new commenters. Um, that's happened to me quite a bit, and I've had to deal with, I'm sorry that it happens, but it does happen all the time to people when they have a lot of social media going on. So that's a big problem that everybody who has a lot of social media platforms has to deal with. Um, Another thing that she talked about was Gothic literature, and a lot of people don't talk too much about Gothic literature. Well, as a writer, I can tell you that if you really want to see those type of videos, you really have to go out and make them, because a lot of people don't know about Gothic literature or the basis of Gothic literature. They know a few books here and there, but they don't know all of them. The most comprehensive video I've seen so far on Gothic literature was one done by the Gothic Alice, and she pretty much put together a great compilation of Goth literature classics that everybody should take a look at. And I've seen other Goths talk about other books related to Goth, and they've talked about those books. But another, section of books I really think people need to talk about is the newer books, like your Harry Potters or your Twi. I hate to say it, your Twilights. I think that series is a piece of crap, but a lot of people, these are the books that they come into with, and a lot of the younger people, some people, the baby bats, they come in from this type of literature, and there's nobody really talking about their literature. When they come into the scene, they want to see somebody talking about the books they're reading, because that's relatable to their generation, and they may not really connect with the classics just yet. Um, what they want to see is somebody, talking about the stories that they are identify with and the stories that they experience. And I haven't really seen anybody talk about more modern stories, and stories related to the modern goth subculture, or talking about that type of literature. And that's a part of the literature, because literature is a commentary on the culture that's going on at a certain time period. That's what I've learned as a novelist and a screenwriter, that it's a big part of a component of that era. Um, and a lot of people, they would think, oh, those books aren't couldn't be considered goth, but a lot of people, that's what they've read, that's what they've experienced, and that is what they would consider a gothic piece of literature. But a lot of people, they would frown on that, and they would frown on books that talk about the literature of that people are producing today, the books that they're reading today. And I believe that we want to try to include their literature too, so that they can feel like they're a part of the subculture, and that they they feel that their art is being appreciated, their literature is being appreciated in the subculture. I believe that we really need more videos, talking openly more about what's going on in the subculture, so more people can know about it. I've made several videos, especially talking about the goth subculture as it relates to African Americans, and I was very happy to find more African American goths as a result of YG Resurrected's video. And I've been trying to get the word out that this subculture has African Americans in it, because African Americans, we really don't get to see that part of our experience. We don't get to see African American goths that much. Um, and I have found quite a few African American goths over the past year and a half as I've done the research for this novel, and I've made every effort to try to more people know that the goth subculture is inclusive to African Americans, and that a lot of African Americans enjoy being a part of the goth subculture. Um, and that, again, these are some of the nicest people I have ever had the pleasure of interacting with and talking to, regardless of race. They've been very inclusive, they've been very kind, and I have enjoyed my time watching goth videos and interacting with goths online. It's just a great experience overall, and just in being interacting with the goths and being part of this pop culture, um, in the way that I have. I've seen nothing but positivity from the goth subculture. I mean, compared to African Americans, YouTube, the goth side of YouTube is a pleasure to be in. When you go over to the black side of YouTube, it's nothing more than beefs, arguments, um, silly response videos, and people just aren't civil compared to the goth subculture, where I've seen literally 18, 19-year-old kids agree to disagree and state that their opinion is their opinion, and I don't. That's it. It shows tremendous maturity. I've seen 40 and 50-year-old black people who cannot come to that level of maturity. They will spend months and even years arguing and going back and forth with each other over an opinion. But on the goth side, regardless of race, I've seen people getting along with each other. I've seen people do collaborative videos where they work together and they make content for both their channels. And I've seen people become friends on the goth side of YouTube. And I look at that, and it's just something that I really am happy to see, because I don't see that type of inclusiveness, that type of kindness, or that type of support for people on a black side of YouTube. I don't see that at all. I see this on the goth side of YouTube, and it shows me what, you know, a subculture can do when people work together. And I wish that African Americans would take an example from the goth side of YouTube and apply that towards improving the quality of life, you know, on the black side of YouTube. But when it comes down to the goth subculture on YouTube, if it has changed, I really don't know if it has. But from what I've seen, it's been one of the most positive experiences I've had the pleasure of being a part of.